More controversial weapons to Ukraine. What a shock. This is the Propaganda Report's Drive Time News Blast. I am Brad Binkley. Top story today should be a surprise to absolutely no one. We are once again sending weapons to Ukraine that we previously pretended like we weren't going to send them. We're sending them some cluster bombs and probably some of that White House cocaine so that Zelensky doesn't hesitate to use them once he gets them in his hands. Biden said it was a difficult decision to provide them with such controversial weapons, but ultimately he was convinced to do so because Kiev needs ammunition in its counteroffensive against Russia. Nice reasoning there. They need ammunition. We're a little low ourselves. How about some cluster bombs instead? Cluster bombs are dangerous for a few reasons. One, they're a bomb. And two and three, according to Wikipedia, they have a wide area of effect and they don't always go off on impact. Apparently, they have a 2 to 40% failure rate and can remain unexploded for decades, posing a risk to civilians long after a conflict has ended because the bomblets inside of them are still live and can explode when handled. So essentially, these things are turned into landmines just waiting to blow the head off of the first curious person who stumbles upon one and picks it up. And since some of them apparently look like toys, 27% of the time, according to Handicap International, that person is a child. So Biden made the difficult decision to help Ukraine plant landmines around Russia that will no doubt, after this war is over, kill children. Because Ukraine's low on ammunition. The White House announced Friday that the president had approved the transfer of cluster munitions to Ukraine, the latest instance where the U.S. has provided Kiev with weapons it initially resisted sending into the war. This is what they do. Every time they send one of these weapons packages and they make a big deal out of it, a big story out of it, this is a big deal. It's the same thing. They're pretending to be resistant to send them the bigger and badder weapons. They have Biden do that, but this has been the plan all along, in my opinion. It works like this. Biden does an interview where he talks about why he has finally decided to send some weapon that previously he was hesitant to send or even said he wouldn't send. He explains the extraordinary circumstances that have arisen that changed his mind, which always includes a threat to democracy worldwide. And in that same conversation, the question of, okay, well, now that you're sending these weapons you said you wouldn't send, what about these bigger and badder weapons that Zelensky also wants? Are you going to send those also? To which Biden firmly says, nope, not doing that, not prepared to do that. Never actually rules it out. Just seems firm in that not going to be sending those. Gives the appearance of hesitancy, of reason. Then after that, the political operatives are unleashed and they go out and they hit up all of the mainstream networks where they begin the public debate about how Biden is right to send the latest weapons package, yet he's wrong to not send the bigger and badder, even worse weapon, softening the field, gaining acceptance for when Biden inevitably will send that next bigger and badder weapon. Trying to make him seem like he's not rushing into war, like this wasn't planned all along, making it be that difficult choice he said it was. He did an interview with ABC a few months ago that mirrors this story exactly. It's the same stick every single time. He's doing this full interview. They played a clip of it today. It's going to air. It's with Fareed Zakaria. It's airing on Sunday. It will be parallel to that. It's either ABC or CBS. I think it was ABC interview from a few months ago where the controversy was over the tanks, I think. This is a plan. He could end the war a couple of ways if he wanted to. He could send Ukraine all of the big badass weapons to kill them up, destroy them all weapons, and help them crush Russia, maybe. Or he could stop sending weapons at all and end it quickly in Russia's favor, but he does neither. Instead, he chooses to send just enough weapons to ensure that the war continues, goes on and on and on, and people keep dying and dying and dying because what they want to do, Biden, the World Economic Forum, NATO, they want to totally destroy Ukraine's infrastructure. That's exactly what's happening. They, Ukraine and Russia, are demolishing everything there because they want to build it back better into a smart infrastructure so they can fully implement the world's first totally digital e-government that runs wholly on the USAID-funded, I think $25 million we funded, app called DIA. I played some clips of the head of the USAID, Samantha Powers, with that ambassador from Ukraine about a month ago, where they were telling, it was either MSNBC or CNN, that she said that the war with Russia has expedited this process of basically assimilating Ukraine's entire population onto this DIA app, where all of their information, total surveillance, is in the hands of the government, which Ukraine pledged to be the first fully e-government.
It was Zelensky's vision in 2019 to create the state in a smartphone or the state in an app. And miraculously, the war hasn't slowed that progress down. It's accelerated the progress.
They are a pilot case study for the rest of the world, and they are already rolling it out to other countries as well. It's a Build Back Better initiative to demonstrate the effectiveness of e-government. Back to the article, which says there are more than 100 countries, including the UK, France, and Germany, who have outlawed the munitions under the Convention of Cluster Munitions. But the U.S. and Ukraine are not signatories on the ban. They're trying to get through those trenches and stop those tanks from rolling, but it was not an easy decision, Biden said. We're not signatories to that agreement, but it took me a while to be convinced to do that. Yeah, I'm sure it did. This has been in the script all along. Biden is heading to Europe on Sunday for a week-long trip, including a NATO summit in Lithuania, where Russia's war against Ukraine, as well as Kiev's push to join NATO, are key issues looming over the summit. So here's a little bit more on cluster bombs. One of the reasons many oppose them is because so many of the victims of them are not just children, are civilians that are harmed and killed by them. According to Handicap International, 98% of the 13,000 plus that they've recorded cluster munition casualties are civilians. An example of how we've used these weapons in the past is during the Vietnam War, the U.S. used cluster bombs and airstrikes against targets not just in Vietnam, but also in the bordering country of Laos. In fact, between 1964 and 1973, we dropped 260 million cluster bomblets on Laos, and 80 million of those failed to explode on impact. These unexploded bombs did, however, go off afterwards and kept going off for the next 36 years at least, killing on average around 100 civilians from Laos per year up until 2009. That's awful. There you go. Can't help you with the ammunition, Zelensky, but let's plant some landmines and get those future Russian children. The question here for me, anyway, is does this go too far for those who have supported all of the previous weapons packages? Not even factoring in that there's no doubt that these things will end up in the hands of the neo-Nazis in Ukraine's Azov battalion. Ignoring that, will this weapons package turn supporters of Biden against him, further hinting that he's not going to be the Democrat nominee in 2024? I don't know. Only time will tell. The only thing that we truly know about the story is that it makes Lindsey Graham rock hard. That's where I'm going to wrap up for now. I am going to be recording more and recording the DNB XR in the AM hours this evening. I have to run, but I wanted to go ahead and get this story out there before I did that. And we'll be coming back later, and there will be more content tomorrow and probably Sunday as well. So if you want to get the subscriber-only portion of the show, DNB XR, you can go to patreon.com/propaganda report and subscribe there. You will get this show, the DNB ad-free. I take out all of the ads for subscribers, and you will get that combined with the bonus content that I record for subscribers only into your own private RSS feed that uploads whenever I upload the show to Patreon. So check that out, patreon.com/propaganda report. If you want to support the show in other ways, leave a review that warms my heart. I was reading through some of them last night, and they truly do warm my heart, and they keep me motivated. So thank you for those. Those are very helpful. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day.